New York City's playoff basketball is upon us. As you can see, I was one of us in the building at Barclays Center when the Nets were victorious and lost my voice. But tonight, isn't a time to take a load management day. Let's go, New York Cities. Bam.
You.
Brooklyn Nets Weekly part take 2.
Yeah, we had a little bit of a technical hiccup there, but it's all good. We're talking basketball, so I can do that all day. I don't even know if you saw me tweet today. I just tweeted, I love the NBA. I was just in the middle of that Phoenix game. It was like the crowd was up. They had hit a big three. Timeout Lakers. I'm pumping my fist because I hate the Lakers too.
No,
And I'm just like, man, like I couldn't wait for the Knicks game later in the day. And I'm like, man, I love the NBA. And like you said, this is take 2 for us. We were talking before. This weekend, just, with being back in an arena with fans and the passion and emotion that we bring to the sport. I mean, we are
we had a hell of a great time.
Yeah, man, we did. And we were at the game together with our brothers, which was cool to meet your bro.
Yeah.
And to, actually hang out. We usually do this stuff over the phone. So just awesome to be back in an NBA arena and, the whole thing, watching the other games. Yeah, it was awesome.
That energy. You can't beat that energy. It was just, it was an amazing time. It was amazing to see the evolution of our fan base, because all of this is really new to the amalgamation of what is the Brooklyn Nets fan. Like you have one side of the fan base, which is diehard Brooklyn Nets fans from all different parts of the tri-state area, because you'd be surprised, like you, a Brooklyn Nets fan from Long Island, Pooch, another person, you got a show coming up with him too, but Pooch, he's a Long Island Brooklyn Nets fan, originally OG New Jersey Nets fan, and then you got the new Brooklyn people like me, people who were kind of waiting for an option from the Knicks and would always root for Brooklyn over New York. And we're learning as a fan base to how to operate, and it's a good thing. Let me ask you something. We'll come back to the Brooklyn Nets in the night we had at Barclays Center at the end of the pod, but let me ask you something about today's games. Did anything you see today make you worried for the Brooklyn Nets?
So
did anything
full
scare
disclosure, I after the Knicks game, I'm like NBA'd out. I've got the second half of our game on in the background last night. I'm just kind of keeping my eye on that. So I haven't checked in on Utah yet. But no, I mean, like watching the Philly game was exactly what I figured it would be. Philly, kind of like us, not really playing that great, but keeping their opponent at bay, pulling away eventually. I thought the Lakers looked like shit.
Can I say something about the Wizards game?
Sure.
Bradley Beal is not a star, and you know what? Superstar. You know what Bradley Beal isn't? Most importantly to Nets fans, he is nowhere near as good as James Harden. James Harden had a bad game. He had a bad game.
It's different.
Did you see James Harden's stat line the other night?
Yeah, Beal is a guy that's just happy to be out there getting shots up.
Yeah, he's a Glenn Rice like type of dude. You know what I mean?
He's like
a championship with Glenn Rice, but he's nice. Glenn Rice was nice, wasn't
he? Yeah, so nothing really. There was no real surprises. I was really impressed with Phoenix. I was really happy for Phoenix. They've always had good fans growing up during the Barkley years. So happy for them. I thought Devin Booker kind of announced himself to a national audience. Phoenix doesn't get too many opportunities there. And I think when the playoffs start, the casuals kind of come into the mix too. People that don't really watch year round who, they know Devin Booker's like a name and, he's a Kentucky guy, but like now they see him play and it's, Nick Suns Lakers and he's dropping 35 and having a huge game. That's how you announce yourself to a national scene. Same with a guy like Trae Young in that Knicks game, that best player on the floor hits the winning shot. That's really what the playoffs are all about is people becoming stars and the stars proving their worth. So it was just a great weekend of basketball. You couldn't have asked more. Starting with that Laker-Warrior game last week was excellent. And then you had the great Warrior-Memphis game the other night. So as a basketball fan, with the fans back and the stakes being raised, I mean, this has just been awesome.
Incredible. Like, did any team or anything you watch, right? Like, you still haven't answered this question.
No, the answer is no. No. So, like not in a – so, like, it's not that, like – so, like, I know Philly can beat us. I think we're the favorites. But I think, like, they could beat us. But nothing that I saw today, like, changed my mind about them. Like, there was nothing new. Like, they're playing a bad team that they're going to beat.
Right.
There's nothing to glean from it.
Look, unless we're going to shoot like the way we shot last night, they have no shot against us. If our guys return to their playoff selves, I'm not talking about their regular season selves. I'm not talking about their 50, 40, 90. When no stakes are on the table. These guys, if they just are themselves, right? Like
yeah. The thing I didn't like about last night was, and I just saw the stat right before we hopped on here. During the regular season, they averaged 10.7 isolation plays per game. We had 40 last night. That's part of why the shooting was bad. Is it definitely got better in the second half, particularly when Green went to the 5.
Yeah.
If you notice, Claxton didn't play much in the fourth, and Griffin didn't play at all. The ball just didn't really move in that first half. And look, Durant was still missing shots that he could normally hit. But we were talking about this at the game. Our other guys, like, weren't getting their usual buckets. We got nothing from Griffin. Harris, I think he had a couple threes. Shamet didn't give us anything. Bruce Brown didn't score. So those are the things that we can almost use this series because they're going to win the series. That's really not what we're analyzing here. You want to use this series to kind of get the wheels moving a little bit here, heading into Milwaukee or Miami next round.
Right. I think they have to prove a theory of the team in this round. It's just hilarious that Boston is basically a punching bag right now. I don't even think if they had Tatum, I almost think there's reason to believe that they would have gotten beaten worse.
You mean Brown?
Excuse me. Brown. Jaylen. Yeah, I'm talking about Brown. So I think if he wasn't injured, I still think it doesn't change anything. The Nets are just superior to them.
Yeah. So it's the reality is Kemba is a vastly overpaid player, and it's easy in Charlotte when there's no pressure, no expectations. The ball's you're always the best player. There's no local media, criticizing your game. Now he's on the Boston Celtics, high profile, team that expects to compete for championships. That's the standard for them. And he's just like, he's kind of like having like his Darren Williams years, where they did not get the player that they signed, that this is not what they expected from him. I mean, the stats are up right now. This is right now, there's 7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter in this game that I'm rewatching. In the second half, he has 2 points. He has 6 overall. and that ain't gonna cut it. If they're gonna win a game here, he's gonna have to explode it in one of these matchups.
No, I think they're relying on Tatum, basically getting 50. That's
Right.
what I saw. I saw Tatum just try to go out there and get 50.
Even Evan Fournier, another guy, like he's down in Orlando. Like, yeah, some years they'll make the AC, but like no one gives a shit. There's no national attention being paid to the team. The local media is not on your ass. Not did he even play last night? Like I know he hit a three early in the game. I don't think
he played a ton of minutes.
No, I understand. I'm just saying it's like it's easy to put up 15 a game on like a bad Orlando team. Now when you come here, the stakes are raised. It's a different level of basketball.
And
Kyrie just crossed the snot out of somebody.
Kyrie crossed the snot out of a lot of people. Did you see when he dropped Fournier?
Yeah, so he was the show last night for sure.
Pick up the pizza.
He was the show.
Pick up the
yeah,
pizza.
He was the show. So even moving into game 2, there's not much adjustment wise I think they have to do in terms of the matchups. We can guard this team, and we did guard them well last night. It's really just
Blake out of the starting lineup.
For who?
I'd play Claxton.
Look, I'm not. I don't want to do that because I don't see them turning to a 20-year-old to start in like the Eastern Conference Finals and shit like that. So just keep it going. I would maybe give a shorter leash to Blake. If he's not scoring for us, he's really not bringing much to the table. But it was just one game. I don't want to keep making changes they have to get something set and go with it from there, so they can, build something, build forward. There, it's really they just need more ball movement. I'm not really worried about the defensive matchups. We can handle them there, so there's not a lot X's and O's wise that has to be done there. Mm-hmm. Just get better ball movement, get everybody else going. Durant will be more efficient in game 2. You hope Harden as well. And they should be able to win game 2 and head to Boston to try to get the sweep.
I gotta say that I searched my soul watching the game over this morning, and honestly, I really don't see anything that this team can do, and it's over for them. I don't even.
You know what it is, because they don't. The teams that are going to be able to beat us are going to have to do it through brute strength, and they don't have that roster. That's why I wanted them.
Right.
Well, for basketball reasons, that was the thing you wanted, was they play like us. So that's going to be tough for them to beat us at our game.
Right.
We did not play well last night. And at the 4:30 minute mark here, we've got a 10-point lead and Durant shooting 2. So there's not much to glean here. It's really just about the team building cohesion again, finding their footing so that they're playing their best basketball by the time Milwaukee or Miami heads to Barclays Center.
No, there's a very sane argument that the person who should go into the starting lineup is Uncle Jeff. I kind of agree with that. I think there's a lineup where it's James Harden and
Kyrie, KD.
No, not that. I'm just saying an off the bench lineup of Harden, Claxton, with 2 shooters on both sides. I think you've got to have times where it's just Harden by himself, where he can do Harden shit. You know what I'm saying? When he's playing with Kyrie and KD, he has to play passive somewhat. But when he's playing by himself, he can just go stupid. Like, Harden is a bad man, yo. Like,
yeah, so like you said, he didn't have his best game, but like he hit a couple big threes. He found his way to the foul line. Still had I think 9 and 8 in terms of rebounds and assists. So he filled up the stat sheet first. And the guy has barely played. I mean, you have to and he's sacrificing some of his game because of